Welcome back to another Sunday walk video. I am not in the forest, but as you can see, I'm about to board my flight. Right now, I'm in Taipei, Taiwan, in the airport. There's a food court behind me. I just got out of the lounge, and it's quite nice. Not as packed as the first time I was here, but I thought I'd create a video here showing you guys what's around, and also just kind of do something different, right? A lot of you guys know, almost all of you guys know, I took a big trip to Singapore, country I've never been, right? And I've already done a lot of videos talking about why I went to Singapore, including, going for IFC4, also while I'm there, experiencing Token 2049, and also Solana Breakpoint. And I already talked about my experiences with those already, so I'm not going to talk about that in this video. I should be talking about Bitcoin and crypto, but honestly, there's just nothing else, right? I already cover everything. Really, this week we just have to see what happens. Like the Fed pivot that carried the markets upwards is going to continue this week, right? So there's not a whole lot of Bitcoin and crypto news I can share, but what I will share are some interesting facts that I've learned on this trip since I was there for about a week, a little bit over a week. If you count flying time, actually a little bit more than that. So there are a few things, interesting things I picked up in case some of you guys want to ever go yourself, or if you're just curious. Yeah, first of all, let's start with this. Let's start with language. A lot of you guys are afraid to go internationally, especially Asia, right? Because of the language barrier. I know most Americans don't want to go outside the US. I don't know why that is, but so many people I talk to just like don't have a passport, are afraid to go, and have no ambition to go, but you really should, because everywhere in the US, it's all the same stuff, all right? Honestly, it's just the same everywhere. So if you want to experience a different culture, how a different society operates, you got to go outside like Singapore. And they have very strict rules about certain things and not so strict rules about other things. So I'll go into that a little bit. But what's great about Singapore is the main language is English. It's English and then Mandarin Chinese, right? So if you know one or the other, you're solid. At first, I didn't quite believe it, but like as soon as you step in the airport and then you go to your hotel, your taxis, your grubs, right? It's not Uber there, it's called Grub, or taxis or shopping centers, wherever you go, restaurants, they all speak English. Maybe not perfect English, like 80-90% good, but good enough to communicate. You have no problems. You really have no problems. So for those of you guys that are English speakers, you could go to Singapore, no worries about language barrier, which is absolutely fantastic, right? If you are Chinese and you're Mandarin and you can speak Mandarin, that's even better, because most of them speak Mandarin Chinese too. So it's like, for me, I do speak a little Mandarin, so it helped me in some ways. But number one is you don't have to worry about language barrier. It's fantastic. So that is number one. Number two, this is something small, and most people are not going to pick this up until they go there. In the US, right, we drive on the right side of the road, right? We drive on the right side and the oncoming is left side. So like when you're walking, well, let's say you're walking in a crowded area, we tend to do the same thing, right? Like if you're walking on a sidewalk or you're walking in a mall, right, you tend to follow the same, like where you're walking on the right side and you're letting the oncoming traffic go on the left side. You would not believe how many times I cause a problem, not a big problem, but like a small disruption by doing that in Singapore, because they do not do that. They drive on the left side and the oncoming is on the right side. So when they're walking the same way, but like there's been countless times where I try to avoid someone by going to the right, and then I actually cause a bigger hiccup. Right, so that was something I'm still not used to. So just like a small little thing like that, based on how we drive. I think it's based on how we drive, but just something small like that just makes you realize that you're not in the States, right? So that's something. Something else. A lot of people you may have heard that Singapore is one of the cleanest cities on the planet. And that's true, but there's a little caveat to that. So like chewing gum and gum in general is not legal. Okay, so I think one of the reasons is because they want to keep it clean. You don't see gum anywhere, and no one's chewing gum. And I think it's like the death penalty if you do. They have like really strict rules, or like public caning or something like that. But here's the thing. Even though it's so clean, it's so hard to find garbage cans. I don't know why this is. Like you go to like a hawker center where it's like all foods, right? Or just in general, you go to an ice cream shop, or you go to like a 7-Eleven, right? After you're done, you want to throw it out. There's no garbage anywhere. It's like in the US, you see a garbage can everywhere, right? With the thinking of, okay, if you see a garbage can everywhere, you're not gonna litter, so you can just put it in. But in Singapore, there's like no garbage cans, but everyone knows there's a steep fine if you litter, but it's just annoying. Like, you just have to carry your garbage around until you find one. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It doesn't. So that's also something interesting. And if you go to a restaurant, okay, they don't give you napkins. That's the thing. If you go to a high-end restaurant, yes, of course you do. But you go to like any normal restaurant or whatever, they don't give you napkins. So you got to make sure everyone kind of knows to bring their own napkins, because these restaurants don't give it out plentifully. Again, maybe due to like the littering situation, and they're trying to avoid it, and how there's not a lot of garbage cans. I don't know. Even at the conference, I didn't even mention this, like even at Breakpoint was giving like food and drinks left and right. But there was nowhere to throw it. They had a person carrying like a garbage can around, but they didn't have like garbage cans in the convention center, which is just really, really strange. So yeah, there's that. What else is there? Singapore is extremely hot and humid, and it's like that all year round, and all the hours of the day. Okay, why is that important? Well, just know that like a lot of people tend to think like, oh, you know, Vegas is hot or Dubai is hot, right? But they cool down at night, right? So even though the morning is super hot, they cool down at night, and you could still kind of like somewhat enjoy your nighttime, right? But in Singapore, it's like just like 85, 87 degrees all day, all night, and it's humid, and you're going to sweat. So people there are kind of used to it, but you could tell they're just like oily. Like everyone's like super oily, and if you walk for 10 minutes outside, you're gonna get all oily. So that's something else to keep in mind. It's just a super hot place that's near the equator, and I think it's like that whole year. I don't think it ever changes. So that's something else that keep in mind, right? Last thing I'll mention is this. Like a lot of people tend to think, well, you know, because you know it's an Asian country, the currency may not be as strong as the dollar, so things might be cheaper. Not really. I mean, if you look at it, the US dollar is maybe like 25% to 30% stronger than Singaporean dollar. But when you're buying things, it comes out to be the same. So if you're expecting to like get a bargain at Singapore, you're not going to. Like everything is just like balanced out the same way. So if you go get McDonald's, for example, or you go to Louis Vuitton or wherever you go, right? It all comes out to be about the same. Nothing is cheaper. I'd say like the Grab ride's a little bit cheaper because there's so many of them, but that's about it. All right, guys, that's it for the video. I gotta go and catch my plane. It's a 15-hour flight, so I'm not gonna enjoy that. But anyways, enjoy your Sunday. This is my Sunday walk video in Taipei, Taiwan. Even though I didn't walk, I don't want too many people to be staring at me. But yeah. Stay strong, my friends. I may be back to my usual streams on Monday, as long as, you know, I adjust the time for the jet lag and time difference, so we'll see. All right, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.